Is this thing on? It is time to do another vintage lens review, and I am out in the middle of windy southeastern Arizona to show off this Juplen 35mm f2.5 M42 mount lens that I think I got off of Etsy. Mostly I got it because it's all silver and it looks vintage and old, and I was just going for aesthetics. I've had this for several years now. I've gotten quite a few good photos from it, but I haven't reviewed it for you guys yet, so I'm going to put it through its paces today. I'm on my way that way to a place called Council Rocks. Council Rocks. Speaking sometimes is hard. Not Cancel Rocks. We're not doing cancel culture, which is one of the most overused terms ever. But that said, we're going to try to do some landscape photography today. I'm hoping to find a couple buildings on the way back home to check out, get some architectural things. I have tried this for portrait photography before, and it didn't really work out too well because I couldn't nail the focus. But it is something I would like to try again if I could ever find somebody to help me out with that. But anyways, without further ado, I'm going to take a photo of that mountain and show it off here, and we shall see how this lens performs today. There are rocks everywhere in these mountains. I think I'm going to wander up here and get a photo. This area was very important to the Apache tribes from yesteryears. A lot of battles were fought in this area between the US government and the Apaches. So this thing is declicked. So I usually try to get around f8. And use the zoom feature on this camera to try to get the focus as good as I can. Yeah, there really is something about the yucca and these rock peaks here. So obviously got to get a photo of that. Sticking with the f8 and 100 ISO. And I'll put the results of this photo on the screen. See how sharp it is. All right, we're climbing into Council Rocks. It kind of looks like the Alabama Hills on a budget. Trail's pretty close to the parking lot. So just a little bit inclined to get into the boulders here. Trying not to fall and kill myself. Off in the distance, that is Knob Hill. I have no idea why it's called that. And as you can see, this is a interesting little jumble of rocks. And as you can see, this place is kind of a little hidden area in the jumbled boulders. You can hide out here. And that rock in front of us, it's got a couple holes drilled into it or ground into it from usage over the years. Get a photo of that. f2.8, so it's wide open this lens gets. Or actually 2.5, what am I talking about? This would be an amazing place for a photo shoot with a model. Models love boulders. And yeah, there is some native art there. So one thing about this lens is sometimes I confuse the aperture ring with the focus ring. Right now, I'm back to f8. And there's some information on Council Rocks for those who want a little history behind it. As you can see, these boulders are huge. Feels like a bit of a choose your own adventure now. That's a pretty outstanding view over there. Anyhow, this one's been a very pleasant lens to use for the most part. Images can be really sharp, the colors are good. It's lightweight. It's easy to get good focus, as the focus ring has plenty of give to it. Get back to f8. And also really like the fact that it's kind of a mysterious lens. I have no idea who made it. And if it has any other Juplens out there. I did look it up once, didn't get very much information. So once again, my videos are extremely useful, which I'm sure is why you subscribe. Or watch this video and go, who the heck is this guy? That's another massive boulder. Reminds me of the giant rock in California I checked out about a month ago. Now we got a cool balanced rock here. As always, 35mm is really good for landscape photography. Oh, we got some water here for some reflection, maybe. Or maybe not. Shot back from the way we came. That's big. Yeah, if you're the type that likes crawling around boulders, then Council Rocks is for you. I think this turned into a site review as opposed to a lens review. And what can you do? So you might get a little bit of a lens flare just because of the angle of the sun compared to where I'm shooting at. As usual, I'm out doing landscape photography in the middle of the day, which is never perfectly ideal, but it's when I got out of the house. Not every shot has to be done at sunset. All right, got some interesting framing here. The channel Sidetrack Adventures actually featured Council Rocks. I'll put a link in the description. He provides plenty of awesome history, as he always does in this site. So go check it out. Yeah, these boulders are amazing. I always mix up the aperture ring and the focus ring. And by now we should get a pretty good idea of how good this lens is doing today, or not good as it may be. Or maybe it's user error. Man, those rocks up there are just insane. Get a photo of. I'm going to switch to my 15 to 35mm RF lens so I can just get some shots with the professional lens. And yeah, we will reconvene when I'm looking at an abandoned building. Now we got to do an obligatory more yucca, rocks, field. Turn on the camera, that always helps. Plus there is a cholla cactus over here that's got some yellowness happening. Maybe somewhere in the area of f2.5 to kind of do a close-up. And hope there's no snakes in the grass. All right, I found a subject to take some pictures of buildings. It's called Fairbank's Old Town Site. It's a ghost town near Tombstone. Should help us decide if this lens is any good at this sort of thing. Oh, go! It's all good.
Ready?
Good here, because the sun is not.
You need it. Alter and leaf for it.
The nice thing about Photoshop is you can remove people pretty easily. Say what you want about AI, but there are some minor uses for it. Just not to the degree that Sam Altman thinks, since he can't even raise a baby without help from predictive text. That building is super white. Tough to get the whole thing in frame. Just want to get that tree too. Well, if you like contrast between bright and dark, here you go. Let's do a close-up of this water thing. See what the background blur looks like. No step on snack. And we'll try some low light. See if we can see through this window here. Change the ISO to about 1250. It's never easy to get good photos through a window, especially when it's dirty. Back to f8 and ISO 100. And that's composting before composting. So that should give a pretty broad overview of what this lens can do. I'll go ahead and follow this segment with the giving it a grade and see how expensive it might be on the open market if there are any available. And you can decide for yourself if this is a lens you want to add to your collection. I've had this lens for several years and taken it out on quite a few photo adventures. It is a very lightweight lens with good optics. While I sometimes struggle with getting good focus at close range or a wide open aperture, it does excel at general landscape and architectural type of photography. The obscurity of this lens might make it harder to track down for those who are interested. A glance at eBay shows one sold recently for $100 US, but no others are offered for sale. Overall, I have to give this lens a B+. There are others I would choose for shooting close-up objects, as well as portrait photography, but for general landscape needs, this is one excellent find. Less well-known lens manufacturers can be hit or miss with quality, but this Juplen brand is quite solid.